Hello, I want to say something while I'm brushing up on my arpeggios and scales with this very basic book, uh, learn book, whatever method, there's the right word. I want to stress something. There are many groups about anything on Facebook. The moment you set up a group, you're an administrator. Every administrator is bound to make decisions, and you are not to please everybody. Actually, I think if somebody who wants to please everybody ends up pleasing nobody. That's my point of view. When I bought this, which is a cheap but it's always a solid screw-stop guitar that has been hanging around and hanging one nail for a while in my room, has been it became quite a nice piece. This spruce top is quite matured. It became darker, more veins. Actually, I cannot find it specific. These are actually electric guitar strings. They're bought as one by one according to string gauge, and that goes very well with this pickup. Not so well for acoustic playing. Having said that, I don't. When I bought it, I wanted to tune like a baritone ukulele. Actually, the what is called Chicago tuning, like the first four string of a guitar. But anyway, you can achieve that this tuning just playing the first four string of a guitar, disregarding the two lowest strings, or just not stringing up this. Actually, the scale is shorter, but I have a treble guitar that I tune like a tenor guitar, and I use the two extra pegs, tuners, to have a double strings. Actually, I had to make two extra. Anyway, a treble guitar this size can become a very good tenor guitar. But I want to stress something. When you play a chord, this has a peculiar sound. Not only sound because you cannot only because the first string is higher, it's A instead of being E. But what makes this instrument peculiar is the fact not that it has four strings, because most instruments have four strings. Basses, as a rule, have four strings. Banjo have four strings or five. Ukulele have four strings. A lot of instruments have four strings. Some instruments have five strings, and when I say strings, I mean courses. So I would say, it's not that I censor, I say, well, there's only one tuning for this. But the one that I want to say, if you are in a ukulele group or in a guitar group, we assume that most of the people that play the guitar don't tune them in fifths, or even ukuleles. Yeah, I have a ukulele that is tuned in fifths, but I have a standard tuning. I don't want to give the idea that a tenor guitar has no standard tuning and has no... sorry if I drink. What I want to say is, it can be tuned differently. But people who really like tenor guitar, because most of tenor guitar players have this tuning, I guess if you embrace the instrument, you accept the different tuning, and you accept to have a learning curve because actually every chord shape is different, and you don't expect to play exactly the same things. My good thing is I'm not get good on a guitar, so I'm not starting from a high level and I start from scratch. No, I really know, I do know more chord shapes and so on and so forth, but actually I learned to read single notes more on a tenor guitar. So I would say don't give the impression that all the tunings are the same, okay? If you play the ukulele, you know that G, C, E, A is the standard, okay? Oh, for soprano and concert, for a tenor, it's more questionable which is the standard tuning. The standard is always G, C, but I can accept for some reason that it's not the subject of this video. You can tune lower, but actually the distance between the strings is the same. The good side of tuning in fifths, that you learn the banjo, which I have, a very cheap banjo, and you can play more or less. You have to change the name of the chord, but chord shapes are the same. Mandolin and an Irish bouzouki. If you play the highest strings, not D but E. So I would say, if you like playing, if you play the baritone ukulele, which I do and I like, and I have several tunings, and one of them is tuned actually like this. If you play baritone ukulele and you want to play steel string guitar, that's the way to go. But don't fool yourself. You haven't embraced really the instrument. I mean, you cannot hang around with people. You cannot exchange ideas and things when the instrument is tuned in a completely different way. So I want to pander to those who play standard tuning. I want to encourage people to try and play the standard tuning, and if they want for some reason to stick to the Chicago tuning, that's their prerogative, and can accept that people can speak about that. But that doesn't mean that I don't reckon the standard tuning to be standard, that the word itself. It means that you can buy books, you can buy books to learn. Otherwise, unless you buy a baritone book, which I haven't found. I mean, there are baritone. You should learn how to read on a guitar and then just skip the extra 4 strings. I mean, some people say, yeah, I don't know what to do with the 2 extra strings. Right, really. No wonder. If you have never, you can do many things with the 2 extra strings. I don't think that is bad. 4 strings, like baritone ukulele, allows you to do some more rhythmic stuff. You limit yourself to some things. You don't expect to hear bass notes. But I wouldn't say this is better, this is worse. But say that learning a tenor guitar, having standard tuning, allows you to, first of all, to exploit the instrument for what it really is. It was born like this, and I think it was also built like this. I think for some way it sounds good because it was built to resonate in this way. Second thing, also the notches, everything is done for standard tuning, so you should make some adjustments. For example, this string is much higher, so you have to adjust here if the cut is to accommodate a thicker string. That's what I think. I encourage standard tuning. I don't say the other tuning are not possible, but I want to present them as on an equal level, because I think that people should try this tuning, should also be able, as a side effect, to play a tenor banjo or even a mandolin. I mean, if you know this tuning, you will enter a world of instruments that are tuned in fifths. That's what I think. And to make a long story short, I want to show people that it's not that difficult to move from a guitar tuning or a ukulele tuning to this instrument. It takes some time, there is a learning curve, okay, but this is what the tenor guitar is all about, and that's it. So I don't want people to say, oh, 4 strings is much better, 6 strings evil. No, that's not the point. This is a tenor guitar. This is the way it's traditionally tuned. That is why it was built. It was built for banjo players who don't want to have a banjo sound but want to keep playing an instrument, a new instrument that basically is tuned the same way. It's no learning curve. There are some minor differences, maybe in the there's more sustain here, so banjo players think are they tend to play somehow somewhat differently in a way, but not major differences. That's my point. To make a long story short, other tunings are accepted, but like everything, like a language, like there are other versions, other dialects of the same language, but but there is a standard version of this language, which is the generally accepted. That means that if you answer an ad and they're looking for a tenor guitar player, they expect you to play this. Like if they expect I answer an ad for a ukulele, I don't have to say anything if I play a standard tuned ukulele. I had to add that if I play a ukulele in fifth, I had to add something. So I think that sometimes you just want to play a ukulele in fifth because you are used to playing other instruments in fifth, and vice versa. You want to play this in fourth because you play instruments in fourth. That's the shortest. It's a kind of shortcut, okay? So I think that a lot of these decisions are made according to what is convenient for us rather than what is what a new instrument is all about, okay? It's like when you play the trombone, okay? I used to play the cornet. I still do. You see, those are cornets. And I play the trombone. And I do not see. I have a one plastic one hanging. If you see the yellow thing, I don't know if you can see well. That's a trombone. At the beginning, I also had a valve trombone, and then I thought, well, why don't I go the whole hog and play the slide trombone? Because people, when they're looking for trombone players, most of the time, they expect someone to play a slide trombone, because slide trombone can have some expect. It's like a slide guitar. You can slide from one sound, literally slide in this case, from that one note to the other in a certain way, and that is the traditional. I don't say that valve trombone don't make any sense. They make sense. The best trombone is when it has valves and slide. It's called superbone. But anyway, so I prefer, and then in the long run I prefer this one. I prefer that by a long shot. Actually, I sold the valve trombone and I bought a tenor ukulele. That's it. Goodbye.